The thing about being a news media person is that in your career, there will be several such instances where you witness the worst of humankind. But nothing can ever prepare you for a moment like one that unfolded 26 years ago in Pakistan. On December 30th, 1999, a man casually walked into the office of a Pakistani newspaper and said that he was there to confess to a crime. From the receptionist to the reporters, everyone was shell-shocked. This is the story of Pakistan's most sinister serial killer, Javed Iqbal. In 1961, a boy was born into a wealthy home in Lahore. His upbringing was comfortable. He did not have a tragic or abusive childhood. On the contrary, Iqbal's father supported him financially even in his youth. His father bought him a villa. He also helped his son start a business in 1978. But years later, this boy grew up to become the most notorious serial killer in Pakistan. Now, the scale and nature of his crimes can make your skin crawl. Despite a privileged life growing up, Iqbal was a troublemaker and had a serious run-in with the law. In his 20s, he was twice accused of committing sodomy. But both these instances occurred 5 years apart. The first in 1985 and later in the year 1990. However, authorities never really filed any charges against him. But these instances set the tone for more sinister acts going forward. The police thrashing, the questioning planted a seed of revenge in Javed Iqbal's mind. And it took a very dark, very violent turn. At the receiving end of this psychotic criminal behavior were innocent children, boys in particular. In 1993, Iqbal's father had died. The young criminal inherited millions of rupees, making him wealthier than he already was. The serial killer in the making used his vast resources to build infrastructure that he would use to lure the victims. In the late 90s, Iqbal opened a video game shop as a method to lure young boys. He offered gaming tokens to them at a lower rate. Sometimes he even gave them for free. Investigative reports say that Iqbal would throw some money on the floor to see if any boy in the store picked it up. And if someone did, Iqbal would accuse that boy of stealing the money. He would then take the child to a room and sexually assault him. This kept happening again and again and again, until parents in the area began to get suspicious of the things that were happening in that video game store. To avoid further suspicion, he then set up other businesses that would focus on children again. A fish aquarium, a gym, a school and whatnot. From there, Iqbal intensified his criminal activities. He then started inviting boys to his home. And it was not a difficult task because Iqbal picked on boys from vulnerable groups, runaways, street children and beggars. All victims have been between the age of just 6 to 16 years old. One by one, these boys began to disappear. Authorities and locals were suspicious of Iqbal. But as a human mind usually works, his social status and wealth gave him a convincing cover. There is another aspect that helped Iqbal carry out his crimes. The children he targeted were all poor, and it is common for society, for law and order in general, to not care about those with no means. Until the day Javed Iqbal himself confessed to his crimes. In early December 1999, the killer sent a letter to Lahore police. In it, he confessed to killing 100 boys, all within a 1-year period. Almost immediately, authorities reached Iqbal's home, and there they found a gory crime scene. Walls and floors of the house stained with blood. A chain that the killer used to strangle and kill the boys. Iqbal also documented his own crimes. The police found photos of the victims along with their names and ages. But Javed Iqbal didn't just stop at murder. He also dissolved the bodies of the victims in acid. When officials reached the crime scene, they found 2 vats of acid with partially dissolved bodies in it. They also found a note which said that the remains were left there on purpose so that the police could find them. And from there began a manhunt to find Javed Iqbal. But the serial killer was nowhere to be found. Iqbal hid in tunnels and caves, and he had the help of local teenage boys until the day of December 30th, 1999, when Iqbal walked into a news daily's office to confess and surrender in person. In his own words, the then 38-year-old told the story of why he did what he did and how police thrashing him for earlier accusations was his trigger point. What I'm about to tell you next are his own words. I was so badly beaten that my head was crushed, my backbone broken, and I was left crippled. I hate this world. My mother cried for me. I wanted 100 mothers to cry for their children. That was Iqbal's reason. Now, the psycho killer also went on to say that he had no regrets. He took a pledge to kill 100 children. Iqbal said that he could have killed 500, but he did not want to violate his own pledge. A murderer with a self-imposed honor code. Who has heard of such a thing? Anyhow, the detailed confession from this point made it an open and shut case. Court found Javed Iqbal guilty, but the story does not end here. The judge presiding over the case handed the serial killer an unusual sentence. His punishment was that he would be strangled with a chain in front of the victims' families. His body would then be cut into 100 pieces, representing the 100 victims. The body parts would then be dissolved in acid, a punishment mirroring the crime. But it did not go through. Human rights activists condemned the brutal nature of this sentence, and Iqbal remained behind bars till the legal tussle was over. But another twist emerged in this case. On October 8, 2001, Javed Iqbal died under mysterious circumstances at Lahore's Central Jail. Was justice really given to the victims? Not really. Iqbal's death under mysterious circumstances was clearly not as brutal as that of the innocent children that he dismembered and erased. Javed Iqbal got his sinister revenge of making 100 mothers cry. But those mothers did not get their closure in the true sense. That's all we have for you on this episode of Prime Crime. We'll be back next week with more such stories and cases from around the world. Thanks for watching.